This is the story of Itsuki, a quiet kid living in a world that is already speed-running toward extinction because one fine day, countless ominous black coffins start raining down from the sky, and monsters called disaster beasts crawl out of them. They smash through the fancy barriers humans deployed and turn Earth into a full-scale horror show. In that mess, Itsuki loses his parents and gains a lifelong hatred that stays rent-free in his head. Years later, humanity discovers that normal people can awaken special powers, and suddenly everyone thinks they are the main character. Itsuki does awaken, but of course the system decides to troll him, and his level gets stuck at a broken number that refuses to go up, like a bug the developers never bothered to patch. But in exchange, he receives a completely unfair cheating ability that lets him analyze enemy skills, steal their strengths, and endlessly boost his own stats without playing by the rules. No limits, no common sense, and no mercy. So while others grind levels like obedient NPCs, Itsuki just breaks the rules and grows stronger by existing. Itsuki could never forget that moment when a disaster beast killed his father, and his mother held him tightly while crying and trying to escape, only for the same disaster beast to attack from behind. The fatal blow meant for him struck his mother instead, but still, with her final strength, she urged him to run away and survive. Right now, Itsuki is standing quietly in his classroom while a girl beside him repeatedly tries to get his attention. She asks him if there is anything wrong, but Itsuki dismisses it and claims it is nothing. She looks at him closely and asks, "Really?" because despite his words, a tear is rolling down his face. Just then, another boy, Rikuru, places a hand on Itsuki's shoulder and casually suggests that he might be sleepy, adding that he often sleeps around that time. Trying to change the subject, Itsuki points out at a teacher saying he is dressed weird. This causes Rikuru to react in shock and explain that the man is none other than Izumi Nento, the commander of the northern continent. He reminds Itsuki that he himself is from the north, and it is strange that he failed to recognize such a legendary figure. Itsuki reflects that the name Izumi Nento is familiar, though the image he once imagined is an old, hunched man with a long beard, but he looks weirder than expected. Rikuru agrees and explains that despite his appearance, Izumi Nento is the very first awakener, and through him humanity has learned about the coffins and the disaster beasts. He adds that Izumi Nento is the strongest awakener alive, and even Teiwa Jin, known as the Light of Humanity, is once his student. Just then, Izumi Nento addresses all students and tells them that recent research has shown that even ordinary people who have not awakened still carry a chance to become awakeners. He explains that simply touching a monolith can trigger awakening, and he came so every student could try to awaken and join the war. Listening to this, the students erupt in excitement. Rikuru tells Itsuki that they finally have a chance. Instead of joining the excitement, Itsuki quietly starts walking toward the monolith. The girl tries to stop him, but as he passes, he gives a twisted smile and says, "The day has finally come." The students gather around a large stone to test their awakening, trying one by one, but nothing happens, and disappointment spreads. Then it is Hikaru Oishi's turn, a known bully, and many hope he will fail, but the stone reacts instantly when Oishi touches it. Oishi awakens with the elementalist class, so the female instructor behind Izumi Nento feels relieved that at least one student has succeeded. Oishi is overjoyed and grins, but just then Itsuki steps forward and shoves Oishi aside, making Oishi become enraged and stunning the students. The female instructor feels an intense, unsettling emotion from Itsuki. Without wasting a second, Itsuki places his hand on the stone, remembering that tragic day and vowing never to forget his hatred for disaster beasts. Because his resolve is different from the others, the moment he touches the stone, a huge surge of energy erupts from his body, and a flower-like aura blooms outward, making everyone freeze and leaving even Izumi Nento and the instructor speechless. The instructor identifies it as the rare Order Breaker class. So, Itsuki awakens with the Order Breaker class. He reviews his stats and smiles. He's got a skill called over-mimesis. It can analyze enemy attacks and allows the user to acquire a counter skill. But just then, Itsuki checks his stat points and sighs because all his points are at level 0. He realizes the system has just trolled him, but just then a system notification tells him that he's got a special grade gift called Nirvana. The system activates Nirvana, and all of his stats are increased by 200 points each. Itsuki lights up with joy as he realizes he can gain unlimited skills through overmimesis and unlimited stat points through Nirvana, so even if he can't level up, he can get stronger in his own way. He says he doesn't know what level of awakener he is, but he vows to annihilate all disaster beasts. Meanwhile, the bright light bursting from his body blinds everyone around for a moment, making other students gasp. Oishi watches this with burning jealousy. Even the female instructor and the legend Izumi Nento watch this with awe. Itsuki fully owns the moment, and just when others notice his overwhelming stats, the crowd erupts in cheers. Overwhelmed with jealousy, Oishi attacks Itsuki with his newly acquired skill, Silver Serpent, but the system immediately notifies Itsuki about the coming attack, and he vanishes before the attack lands and reappears behind Oishi. Then, Itsuki puts a hand on Oishi's shoulder and coldly states that he is lucky to be human, because if Oishi were a disaster beast, he would be dead already, and Oishi collapses in terror. Everyone is awestruck by this. It happened due to the skill overmimesis. It had detected Silver Serpent and granted Itsuki a C-rank skill called Thunder Wave to counter it. The system explains the skill Thunder Wave Level 1, stating that it can absorb C-rank or lower lightning attacks, and when it releases the stored energy, it also increases agility by 50%. Plus, it also has one passive effect. Each time a C-rank lightning attack is absorbed, the agility increases by 5%. Lightning crackles around Itsuki, and the students watching it realize that it is much brighter than Oishi's lightning. Still on the ground, Oishi cannot understand how Itsuki learned the skill and increased his stats again. Just then, it starts raining, and a massive coffin descends from the sky, making the female instructor panic and wonder why that coffin suddenly appeared there. Izumi Nento immediately announces that the assembly is cancelled and orders the students to immediately evacuate. The female instructor urges everyone to retreat. Then she asks Izumi Nento what they will do now, as combat is not their specialty, but Izumi responds that if they run, panic will spread. Just then, they note that one boy, instead of running, is just standing there calmly. Soon, the coffin slams into the ground with a loud impact, causing students to scream and flee in terror. In the midst of the chaos, Itsuki calmly walks toward the coffin, while his friends rush to him and warn that a disaster beast is coming and he should leave with them. But Itsuki declares that he is going to annihilate every last one of them. Rikuru tries to stop him, saying he will die if he stays. The girl agrees and reminds Itsuki that this is not an opponent for a new awakener and tells him to leave it to others, but Itsuki trusts them, so reluctantly his friends retreat. Alone, Itsuki stands his ground and laughs quietly, thinking his first enemy as an awakener is the same creature that killed his parents. He says it is his lucky day.
And that's all for today. If you'd like us to continue this manhwa, leave a comment and please subscribe to the channel to support us. We'll see you in the next video.